Are you looking for the perfect family hiking trails really close to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, where you can just get a little taste of what it's like to be outdoors in the Smoky Mountains, even if you're spending a lot of your time at all of the attractions and fun things to do that Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge has to offer? Well, you're in the right place, because in this video, we are going to be talking about my family's favorite 2 trails that are within minutes of Gatlinburg that is perfect for your entire family, no matter how young your smallest child is or how old your oldest grandparent is. But before we get there, I just want to let you know that my family and I host other families in our mountain home from all over the country. And we typically see the same things that pop up time and time again when they travel to Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. And we've actually put together a really special resource available to you if you want it. And that is the top 5 mistakes that families typically make when visiting Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. If you're interested in getting the guide, which shares the mistakes, but also shares what you can do instead, how to fix the mistakes, then just head over to the description down below this video, put in your email address, and we will ship you the guide straight to your inbox. All right, so if you're anything like my family and I, the attractions are great. It's a big part of the reason why we love Gatlinburg and we love Pigeon Forge. But the real attraction of Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge is the Smoky Mountains. And no trip to the Smokies is complete without at least getting outside a little bit. Now, I get it, because believe me, we've got an 8-year-old, we've got a 4-year-old, and we've got a 2-year-old. I understand what it's like to try to get outdoors in that kind of a scenario. And what's amazing is that there are 2 trails steps from Gatlinburg, Tennessee that honestly anybody in your family would have an incredible time with. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first trail is what's called the Gatlinberg Trail. Now, the Gatlinberg Trail is one of 2 walking paths that honestly visitors can walk their dogs and they can ride their bicycle. That's really unusual. Pets and bicycles are really prohibited in pretty much all other areas of the Smoky Mountains National Park. The trail actually travels 1.9 miles one way from the Sugarlands Visitor Center all the way to the outskirts of the city of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. What's really amazing is that the trail is relatively flat, so it's very easy for all of your party to travel on, and it runs through the forest right alongside the west prong of the Little Pigeon River. Now, my family and I, this is one of the highlights of the Gatlinburg Trail. This is what we always love doing when we get out there, because my small boys, they love the river. And honestly, for my wife and I, it's a treat to be able to just get out into the woods, just a little ways. It's safe, get out into the woods and just be able to breathe, because they'll kind of spread out just a little bit and they love playing in the water. It's one of their favorite activities. Every single time we go, they know that the stream's going to be there. They know that they can find some really beautiful round rocks and skip rocks across the water. And honestly, if you've never been, the Little Pigeon River is absolutely stunning. It's really beautiful. There's parts of the Gatlinburg Trail that you look off into the distance, and especially if you get to see that classic Smoky Mountain mist, kind of that fog that that hovers over the water. It's absolutely stunning and is absolutely beautiful. And the trail offers views of the river for a good majority of the way, which at one point you actually even cross a pedestrian footbridge to get over to the other side. Now, the other cool thing that my boys actually love is you can actually see foundations and chimneys of several old home sites. They're visible along the trail, which is very cool. So the Gatlinburg Trail, again, extends basically from the edge of town. And if you're looking for parking, you can actually pay for parking in a parking lot that's right there on the edge of town, right before you enter into the Smoky Mountains National Park. If you pay for parking there, then you just pay the rate for that parking lot. Do remember that you have to have a parking tag if you're going to park anywhere inside of the park. So this kind of takes me to the next thing, which I've seen a lot of families do, and a lot of families that stay with us, they'll do this. They will have breakfast in Gatlinburg. They'll load up on pancakes, and they want to get out and they want to have a little bit of a walk, but they want it to be easy. They don't want it to be too difficult. And this 2-mile journey from basically the edge of Gatlinburg, where the parking lot is, all the way to the Sugarlands Visitor Center is a nice, easy walk for most families. Now, The other trail that I want to talk to you about is what's called the Cataract Falls Trail. Now, what's interesting is that there's no real trail called the Cataract Falls Trail. It's actually made up of several smaller trails, but they all basically start at the Sugarlands Visitor Centers. So the best way to get there is to park at the Sugarlands Visitor Center if you're wanting to go straight to the falls, and make your way around the Visitor Center. You actually pass some restrooms on your way down to the trail. So when you wind your way down to the trail, you actually start on what's called the Fighting Creek Nature Trail. And you'll be on that for just a few hundred feet before taking another offshoot trail to the right towards the trailhead for Cove Mountain Trail. Now that might sound really, really complicated, but don't worry. Honestly, if you just follow the trail, it will lead you to the right place. You'll find that it's very, very easy. Now, the reason that my family and I love this so much is because it's just as hikeable, it's just as easy as the Gatlinberg Trail, but it's a bit more diverse. There's a lot more to look at. The terrain varies a lot. You still have the streams that's running down. You still have the running water that's running alongside the trail. But there's some places where you kind of hike up a little bit. You can go to some steps and get some higher elevation, some areas where you can get some lower elevation. And the best part about the entire thing is that it all ends in the Cataract Falls. Which is awesome. My kids always love being able to go and just see the falls. Now, I will say they always are tempted to climb up the left side of the falls to kind of go to the top. We always tell them they can't do that. It's just not safe, but it is beautiful just taking in the falls while we're there. And it's honestly just a great way to cap off the end of the hike before we turn around and make our way back. Now, I know that you'll probably read online in a lot of places that you can take a stroller on these trails, and you can. I mean, you can. Especially if you have some of those strollers that's got the really giant, rubber wheels, it's probably fairly easy to do so. But honestly, we've found that it's not that much fun to try to push a stroller down these trails. I mean, at the end of the day, even though they're relatively flat, even though it's not difficult or it's not that hard to hike them, and honestly, even our children, when they were 1 and 2 years old, we were able to let them down and just run and explore and have a good time, which is honestly, as parents, we love having the opportunity to let them run and explore. It gives us a little bit of a break, and honestly, they just love being outside. But I will say that we honestly couldn't imagine taking a stroller. That seems like it'd be more aggravation than what it's worth. Typically, we just kind of held them. Or back in the day when our children were younger, my wife would use one of the sling things that they would carry them in, and we would just walk with them. And so, you can take a stroller. I just wouldn't encourage it. I wouldn't encourage you to. You probably wouldn't enjoy the hike or the walk quite as much if you were having to push a stroller down a nature trail, which at the end of the day is really what it is. Now, I will say the other cool thing is just there's animals. I mean, on the trail, we have seen snakes. We've seen really beautiful bugs of all kinds, which is really, really cool. My kids always love getting to go out and really pay attention and immerse themselves in nature. And thanks so much for joining us for this video talking about the best 2 family trails there are in Gatlinburg, or really close to Gatlinburg anyway, for families. Regardless of the age, you can get out and you can enjoy these trails and get a little taste of what the Smoky Mountains National Park has to offer. But I'm curious, there are so many trails around Gatlinburg. Maybe I missed one. Is there a favorite that you enjoy? And honestly, I'm kind of curious if you're a little bit more adventurous, if you're a family who's a little bit more adventurous and you don't mind taking your kids out just a little bit deeper into the forest, which trails have you been on? Because I know my wife and I, we're always planning on going on new adventures. And as our kids grow up and as our boys grow up, we are definitely venturing further and further out into the forest. So let us know what your favorite trails are. Just type it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, please smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel, because every single week we're coming out with content just like this to help families plan their trips when they come to Gatlinberg and Pigeon Forge so they can spend their time together with intention. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.